Daily Broadside day 429. Well, last night was a good night because the Lakers got swept. Not only do I not like the Lakers, but LeBron is such a soft douchebag of a player. Golly. I mean, you're the elite of the elite in a professional sport, and you act like you're a 4-year-old girl getting hit with a tree branch walking through the woods. Like, it's so stupid. And I'm excited that it looks like the Nuggets might actually win a championship, which is cool. I always like seeing new teams win, unless it's the Lakers or the Knicks. I can stomach anybody else. Although it's been a good run with Butler's Heat. They've got a pretty good roster there. It ought to be a good finals if the refs don't fix everything like the NBA tends to do. Sacramento Kings. Anyway, speaking of basketball, I watched a video this morning of Carmelo Anthony talking about how he says, a guy was asking me, he's like, what do you want to average? He's like, you averaged 28 this year. He's like, break it down. He's like, you got 4 quarters. All you got to do is score 7 points a game. So Carmelo's breaking down how to score 7 points in a quarter. He's like, that could be, a 3, a couple layups. He's like, it could be a couple layups, free throws, maybe 2 threes. And he's like breaking down all the combinations of 7. And I'm like, why are we talking about this? And then he's like, you got 14 if you got 14 at the half, all you got to do is like 7 more and 7 more and all this. And he's like, he ends the conversation. I was like, it was crazy. It was crazy. And I'm like, dude discovered math. Like, what did they not teach you at Syracuse University? Apparently not math. I tell you what, man, it's a good thing some of these guys have physical attributes and gifts that they were given, being tall and athletic and everything, and being able to do the things they do, because their intellect is not really there. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're just brushed through school. They don't, those colleges don't do anything for those dudes to prepare them for the real world. They just kind of show up to these easy classes, get A's, and get your little degree or get passed through. It's really kind of sad, quite frankly. I saw a story a couple weeks ago about a girl who intentionally blinded herself with like bleach or something because she felt like she should have been born blind, and that's just what it was. And I remember reading an article in like FHM, is that what it was called? Maxim, one of those magazines back in the day, like 20 years ago. And it was talking about apotemnophilia, which is the concept that people are born thinking they shouldn't have legs or arms, and so they go down to like Mexico and get some dude to like crudely, amputate their limbs and stuff. And I'm like, that boggles my mind. And I don't think that has anything to do with mental illness at all. But the fact that you would blind yourself intentionally, not only would pouring bleach in my eyes really, really burn and be a miserable couple days, but how like insulting is that to the people that are blind, have all these eye maladies they're born with, or genetic defects, or just go blind or whatever, and they would give anything to be able to see. And I wish we could like delve into this girl's like head, because she may be real happy right now, but surely at some point in the near future she's going to be like, yeah, this wasn't a good move for me. I don't think this was the right thing for me to do. I also watched a video this morning of a girl telling a story of a first date. She meets this guy, or she talks to this guy. They decide to have a first date. And so she's like, hey, I'll just make dinner, come over to my apartment and all, which I'm just glad I have, sons, because I couldn't handle having a daughter. That's a dumb decision. I don't care how well you think you know the guy. Don't be inviting people over to your house when you've never even met them in person. Like, that's just a recipe for disaster. And this dude shows up with like 8 bottles of wine and proceeds to start drinking heavily. Long story short, he spends the night because he's drunk and he's got a ignition interlock on his car from a previous DWI. And from her story, you can tell he's just a chronic alcoholic, because, he's just pounding drinks as fast as he can. There was nothing, it wasn't trying to knock the nerves off, let's say, but He ends up sleeping in her bed, snoring like a freight train, and then pissing in her bed. And I'm like, I don't know what you expected good was going to happen out of this situation, but there's so many what you would call red flags these days that this should have never really taken place. But you spending the night with a dude, sex or not, this is just not a good idea. He's drunk. Y'all are in the same bed. You don't know the guy. He knows where you live. Like, none of this is good. You know what I mean? And speaking of drinking heavily, you ever drink and you get kind of trashed and you stand up to go take a piss or whatever you're going to go do, and you realize that, oh, hell, this has hit me and I'm walking funny? That's what it looks like. But you're like trying to like get your crap together and walk in a straight line so people don't realize how drunk you really are. That's what it looks like. It reminds me of when I see Biden walking, you know. And they say that dementia patients have a certain gait to the way they you know, move and all that stuff. And I'm positive that's an accurate representation of our fine president these days. But it also reminds me of someone who's just drunk and is just now finding out and is trying to walk just as carefully as possible so that others don't see. But we see that you're drunk, Biden. We all see it. The world sees it. Get it.